Hello, everybody, and welcome back into another trade reaction video here at the Hockey Writers, coming fast and furious here. If you guys are watching the YouTube channel, we just released a heroic trade reaction to another trades that happened today. Now we have Jakob Chychrun finally on the move from the Arizona Coyotes. Seems to be in like 10 years ago. But Mike Fink joining me on the panel again. Mike, this has been insane before the deadline. Chychrun's now traded, and we'll go down the trade here first. This is a lot of conditional picks. There's no players involved in this trade. So Chychrun was traded to the Ottawa Senators, exchanged for conditional first-round pick in 2023, conditional second-rounder in 2024. This was a previously acquired one from the Capitals, and a second-round pick in 2026. So the conditions on it, first round in 2023 is top 5 protected. So if, they won't get the pick if it ends up being a top 5. If it's met, it'll become a 2024 first rounder. Additionally, should the Senators reach the 2023 Eastern Conference Finals, second rounder becomes a 2024 first round, top 10 protected. If that condition is met, the pick becomes a 2025 first unprotected. If you lost me throughout any of that, you can go on the Twitter page for the Ottawa Senators and you can read it. But Mike, what do you think about this trade? Chychrun finally on his way out of Arizona to the Ottawa Senators.
You're reading the terms and conditions. I was like, that could, like as Brad Treliving said once, that could put you to sleep.
Yes.
He said that about the trade in the summer. But anyway, yeah, first reaction, finally. This is over. It's like the rumor's been going on. I can remember back in 2021, and it's like, finally, we're done with that.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. Okay, don't have to deal with the, where's he going? What teams are interested in? Because half the league was interested in Chychrun, obviously. So we're done with that. Good. Then you go and you're like, this seems underwhelming, this deal.
Yeah.
Like the pieces, we were thinking like 3 pieces involved, but a 2021 first, that is, the conditions but bottom line, it's not going to be a top 5 pick. And based on where Ottawa is, like, what are your even let's just project that they're not going to reach the Eastern Conference Finals to get rid of that condition.
Yeah.
And let's project that they're not going to finish in the top 5 to be that condition. Let's just say they finish like 17th or 13th, that range.
Yeah.
It's like, seems a bit underwhelming. And then the other picks, it's like mid-round picks for someone that we thought was one of the best two-way defensemen in the NHL. Most people would think a top 10 in his prime. So those are kind of the first 2 things you think about. And do you'd agree that this is an underwhelming offer for someone like Chychrun's caliber, right?
It is, and especially with so many of the rumors that, like, say, were really high. They wanted like a first, they wanted a top prospect, they wanted, I believe there was even talk of being a roster player in there, a young guy, and they only get picks in this, and these are not guaranteed NHL players, and they're not high picks. Yes, there could be first rounders involved. It's not gonna be top 5, like you say. I don't know. It seems a bit underwhelming to me too. Especially with all the anticipation of what Chychrun was going to go for.
You're thinking of like the teams. The teams that were interested was like originally when Florida was interested, or Columbus, like all the teams that were interested overall. You were thinking multiple first-round picks possibly, and they only get 1, and it's conditionally, but like most likely it's going to be a 1.
Yeah,
and that's it. And I think the longer conversation should be what does this mean for Arizona, and what is going on with the Coyotes, which I think is a conversation which would take too long. And we've been recording and talking about trades all day. We're just like, okay, let's just wrap up immediately what we think about it. But that's they traded Gostisbehere. Like the bottom line for them, it's like, at what point did they just become like a pipeline team for other teams? And that just seems like what they are right now, which is, double frustrating considering where they are. They're in Arizona. They're playing in a college stadium. So it really feels like they're a minor league team at this point, which is, big picture, which is why this trade I think really sucks on for the Coyotes when you think about it. Take a step back.
Yeah, I know. It seems like they didn't get. Yes, they got some future prospects. They're going to get some prospects out of this with picks, but they're not high end. You're not getting. Most likely, we'll have one this draft because I don't think they're going to finish. It's going to finish in the top 5. So they will have another one here, and all these conditions and all that. But they will have a few picks. It's a matter of. They didn't. I thought they were going to get a top end, high end prospect out of this, as well.
Yeah,
but
you're thinking that like one of those players is like borderline ready to make the NHL. I mean, and yeah, they didn't get that. I mean, the bright spot is if you are saying like we're completely tearing it down, which it looks like they are, is that they're projected to pick in the top 5 right now, which is this year's top 5. So if you can get fill in the blank Fantilli, or let's say they don't get number 1, but say they get top 5. You can get Matvei Michkov, I think is if I'm pronouncing it correctly, and then you could say like, okay, that's our building blocks, but that still sets you back a bit. And then it's like, and you're saying like, okay, they're rebuilding after a failed rebuild, which is I guess NHL history. Like a lot of teams have done that. The Devils recently have. The Devils are a recent team that did that, where it's like they had to tear it down after tearing it down, and it's like, okay, like so. I mean, that's where they are, and I mean it's underwhelming, but like there is still optimism in saying like, okay, if they could do this correctly. But I mean, yeah, it is. Finally, it's over, and this is like the return is. It's a little, I guess it's a little anticlimactic, I think as well.
Yeah, but the Ottawa Senators get a really good defenseman. What does he bring to them? I mean, you've got pretty good building blocks already on defense with Jake Sanderson, young guy. Now you add Chychrun to that mix. What do you think he will bring as a top end defenseman for the Ottawa Senators?
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting because it's like I didn't think there were one. This type of move is also interesting for Ottawa because it's like I didn't think they were one piece away. This is a huge building block. This is like something that's like, okay, now we have players who we can build a winning roster around, something they haven't had in a while, which is refreshing, honestly, for them, considering they had to tear it down.
Yeah,
they had to tear it down back when they had Erik Karlsson. This is the best two-way defenseman they had since him. And so it's funny how things go full circle a little bit. But I mean, it's good. It's good, and it's also good considering that they didn't need to give up someone like Sanderson or someone one of their young players, the young talented players. So you look at their young core, and Stützle's entering his prime now. DeBrincat, if they bring him back, which I think they probably will, is an RFA, I think. Bring him back. You have these young pieces, and I think that's Chychrun's another one, which is like a nice piece to add into that. And so with them, that's where it's the bright spot on this. I mean, the question is like whether it's like just this is not the final piece, but if this is a piece that's going to help them build a contender in the East. They're going to eventually.
Well, Thomas Chabot won't have to play 30+ minutes anymore.
We forgot. Yeah, I forgot about that. He's their not old reliable, but he's their workhorse, taking on 30 minutes of ice time, and he doesn't need to do that anymore. And also the power play, you have someone who takes that on, and it helps a lot, like on the ice, which is something there. I think their forward unit's a little questionable, I think, in the sense it's got the star power, but you sometimes you think about it and you're like, oh, do these players work well together? And that's kind of a question mark. But another thing to think about is Chychrun helps a lot with that, because like he's someone who opens things up for your offense, and he'll make the offense look better. He'll make some play. He'll get DeBrincat more open shots near the net. He'll allow things. He'll make things a little easier for them. So, I mean, yeah, it's a good move. It's a good move, especially considering what they gave up, and you're like, oh, that's all they had to give up for him. Now it's like, oh, they have this building block now, which is huge for them. And I think that's the big takeaway also.
Yeah, and great contract too. I mean, that contract is not massive. It's a good contract for to come in as well. You're not paying him a ton. So, overall, Ottawa Senators came out, I'd say, the winners of this trade right now. I mean, yes, they had to give up some picks, but if they're building to take that next step now, I think this is a big move. And to not have to give up a top end prospect, like you said, like a Sanderson or anything like that, it's pretty good.
And I think also that now we could say that this is like they're ready to take that next step. Whereas in the offseason, when they got Claude Giroux and they brought him in, it was okay, now this is the year where they take that big leap. And really, they were a year behind schedule. I mean, the way things are shaping up also, as much as they've beaten the Red Wings 2 games in a row and they're back in the mix, they're really a year because the East is a mess right now, as it should be. Their timeline now, it's like, okay, now we can prepare for 2023, 2024 as we have a good young roster in place that can actually take that big leap.
Yeah.
And now they're ready for that, which is like good to hear for Ottawa, considering all that they've had to deal with for years. It looks like the future's bright for them.
For sure. So we'll see what happens with Chychrun in Ottawa. But like you said, this is finally over. The Chychrun saga is over. We can stop talking about him. We can stop writing about him. Ottawa Senators writers can write about him. We will stop writing about him now. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he fits into that roster. If he is that missing piece on defense that they need, or if they're going to have to keep building, because again, it's only 2 players, Chabot and him, and Sanderson seems to be part of that core now too. So they've got some good, like I say, building blocks to move forward. We'll see how Ottawa does, but we can finally say Chychrun has been traded from the Arizona Coyotes. And we can stop doing anything and talking about trades with them unless the Senators end up doing something later on to trade him. But I don't think that's happening for a while. But thanks, Mike, for coming on the show and talking Chychrun. And it seems like there's not many big names left. Who else do we got?
Who are you going to talk about on Friday or Thursday when the deadline is up? I don't know who's going to be left. I mean, unless something crazy happens, which
the Hronek trade came out of nowhere, so I don't know.
We've seen crazy stuff happen already today, so anything. I mean, yeah. Well,
maybe JT Miller could be traded.
Oh boy, back to that.
I know we got so much we got stuff happening. We don't know. So, but keep it tuned here. We had 2 quick. This show is called Quickfire. We have 2 quickfire videos coming at you in quick succession. So. Keep it locked. We may have another one within the next hour. I don't know. We don't know.
Checking Elliot Friedman right now to make sure we have nothing going on. But yeah, basically we wrapped up Chychrun, but so far nothing has broken past 2 minutes. So looks like we're good.
15 minutes ago, the Kings acquired Eric Portillo from Buffalo. That's a small trade, but we got Portillo out of Buffalo now. One of their goaltenders that have been they got a little bit of logjam on prospects wise. So Kings trade away a veteran goaltender, bring in a guy that could potentially be in there. But that's the only thing that's happened from what I can see. But there you go. But yeah, keep it locked on thehockeywriters.com and the YouTube channel. We'll keep getting these videos out. We'll keep getting articles out, and we'll see what other teams have in store, because we've got a lot of big names that have moved in the last few days. So we'll see what else is happening on trade deadline day. It's going to be pretty quiet, I think, unless something happens. There'll be minor deals, obviously, but I don't know how much more big things we can get.
We'll see, I guess.
Well, we'll see. But yeah, keep watching, keep reading, and we'll see you next time on another Quickfire.